Well, when they said not guilty, I never got the feeling that I really want it, because I know it's overshadowed by cancer, them dying. I'm Robert Mailman. I was convicted 1983, 84 for killing a man I knew nothing about. Here we are 40 years later. We are not guilty.
Walter Francis Gillespie. I was charged for second-degree murder. And on January the 4th, we were found not guilty on a second-degree murder.
Robert Mailman and Walter Gillespie. Two innocent men who spent half their lives fighting for their freedom. And on January 4th, 2024, they finally got it.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the judge there for doing this. We're free. I don't know. I mean, it's over with. I mean, where do we go from here?
How is it possible that these two men got life sentences for something they didn't do? To understand what happened, we need to go back to a murder that took place 40 years ago. November 1983. The burned body of George Lehman was discovered here in this park.
Could be. See, I don't know for sure if this is the right spot.
Walter Gillespie wants to show me the exact spot where the body was found, because what happened here changed his life forever.
Maybe here, maybe.
Gillespie keeps searching, because with all the lies and the fabrications in his murder case, he likes to be accurate.
No, I don't know. I really can't tell you for sure. I call Bobby, maybe he might know how far it was.
Gillespie calls Robert Bobby Mailman. Anything to do with their case, they consult each other.
Yeah, Bobby, I'm at Fisher Lake, and I don't know where the spot is. Do you remember how far out it was?
Right to the gate.
Right there by the gate?
Yeah, right to the gate. You're off here right down through the woods.
I called Bobby there, and
What did he say?
he pointed me to the direction, and he said it's right there by the gateway.
Nobody knows for sure why George Lehman, a 55-year-old plumber, was murdered, but it came up at trial that he may have been involved in drug trafficking.
I mean, you think that's a bit of a trail there, eh?
Yeah.
So this is where the police said you dropped the body, the dead body.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But you were never here.
No, never here.
It's remarkable, eh, all that? About something you didn't do.
Yeah, they didn't have nothing on me, not a thing. Just that I was there. They said I was there.
In January 1984, the police charged Gillespie with second-degree murder. They said they had eyewitnesses. Once he was in custody, Gillespie says a St. John police officer went after him to get him to pin the murder on Robert Mailman.
He got me in the office all by himself. He wanted me to make a statement against Robert Mailman. And I said, no, I'm not making no statement. I said, I wasn't there, and I said, I don't think Bob Mailman was there either. I said, we were home fixing my car. He said, you want to protect him? He said, you'll go down with him. So what could I say? Make up a story?
You weren't going to lie.
I wouldn't do that.
Not telling that lie meant Gillespie would spend the next 2 decades in jail. And even though he wouldn't tell the police that Mailman committed the murder, 2 days later, Robert Mailman was charged anyway. The murder became what everyone was talking about in St. John. The papers wrote about it every day. One storyline was that both men insisted they were innocent. But Mailman and Gillespie were convicted, sentenced to life, and sent to a maximum security penitentiary.
This is in Renouse.
So this is in the penitentiary. You're in the penitentiary
Both
here?
of them, yeah.
Both of them.
That's my cell in Renouse. That was my life. the only thing kept me going for the first 10 years was probably revenge. Not to get out to hurt anybody, but just to make them held accountable. I wanted them to be brought before a court, and I wanted them to be shamed in front of the public. That's what I mean by revenge.
In prison, from day one, they worked on getting out. And one day they met this man, Ron Dalton, a former bank manager who'd been convicted of murdering his wife. And he helped them.
I was working in the library. I could fumble my way around a typewriter, an old manual typewriter, and we were writing the justice ministers to try to draw some attention to their case. And Wally used to run poker games inside, and if he made a few dollars, he would use that money to hire a private investigator out in the real world.
Ron Dalton could relate to Mailman and Gillespie because he always said he was innocent too. And he was. 8 years into his sentence, Dalton was exonerated. Once he was free, he began to volunteer with an organization that helps the wrongfully accused. He made sure Mailman and Gillespie weren't forgotten.
That I don't think a lot of people might understand is that when we're reviewing the files, we're also looking for evidence of guilt.
This is Innocence Canada's only office in the country. It's from here they investigate claims of wrongful conviction by inmates across Canada.
Bobby, he wouldn't shut up about being innocent.
Lawyer Jerome Kennedy remembers the first call he got from Bobby Mailman.
It's an example of a man saying, I am innocent and no one is listening to me. Will you please help?
Right. Looking at the case, Kennedy says it was clear why the police targeted Mailman.
Bobby Mailman was a notorious alleged criminal back in the early 80s in St. John, and he had been acquitted of a couple of fairly high-profile charges. And essentially, they started the investigation with the view that Bobby Mailman was the killer. Now we have to find the evidence to support that. I would simply describe it as out to get Bobby Mailman at any and all costs.
Innocence Canada found that the Mailman and Gillespie case was full of holes. For example, the eyewitnesses who put them at the murder scene admitted they made their stories up.
One thing I learned from this case is how important it is to go to the scene.
Lawyer Bhavin Sodhi found the most damning evidence of all when she flew to St. John and went to the police station.
And they gave us a single file folder. I think it had a couple of envelopes in it, and we didn't think there would be much. But we're flipping through these pieces of paper. And when I looked down, I said, are these receipts of payments? There's no way that the police would keep a ledger of hundreds of dollars of payments made to John Lohman Jr., It's one of the key witnesses that testified against Robert Mailman and Bobby Gillespie.
So you found proof that the police had been paying the main witness that put the two gentlemen away?
Yes. It was incredible. Of all the years that I've been doing this, I've been doing this now for almost 10 years, right? There has never been an instance like that.
So in the end, both eyewitnesses admitted they hadn't seen the murder.
Payments of $100.
And one of them had been paid by police. But if you can believe it, it actually gets worse. Mailman and Gillespie always said that they had an alibi, that they were here at what used to be a car dealership buying a part to fix a friend's car at the time of the murder. Now, the police did an investigation. They found their alibi credible, but they didn't disclose that to the defense at trial. This is a photocopy of the receipt that Mailman and Gillespie got that day. Even though there was so much evidence pointing to a wrongful conviction, Robert Mailman spent 18 years in prison, and Walter Gillespie 21. And it took until January 4th, 2024 to clear their names.
Well, I don't have too much to say, really. You know, I just... Sorry. I don't know. I remember when we first went in, I said, when we walk out of here, we'll be walking out with our canes. But I don't know that this day was coming up, and I'm glad it did. Glad it's over with.
Thank you.
Good job.
Well, he's my brother now. I mean, we've been together for 40 years fighting this. We were hoping to grab our arms and put them up, but I couldn't lift my arm after we come out of the courtroom. I was so exhausted.
The Chief Justice apologized to Mailman and Gillespie. St. John Police haven't. They commissioned a retired RCMP officer to look into the force's handling of the case.
I think that they should at least recognize what they've done and compensate us now. Hopefully that's what they'll do, and that's what we're fighting for now.
Gillespie says he's trying to figure out how to live as a free man.
I do this as a pastime. I don't think about anything. I just mix all the paints up and see how it comes out. They all come out differently. I'm hoping maybe get a better apartment. Look at this rat hole. Just a cage in here. It's just like being in prison, more or less.